Hello, my name is Martin Williams. Thank you for tuning in to the Guided Expressions podcast. Today, I wanted to talk to you about releasing anger. And it's interesting, I started talking and I started recording, only to find out that I wasn't recording at all. So I'm glad I didn't get through the end of my audio to realize that none of it was recorded. But anyway, I figured we'll just start over again and start from the top. So, why is anger releasing important? It's because, as human beings, we have the ability to get angry. We have the potential to get angry at different things. It's really a decision how far we allow our anger to go. Getting angry in and of itself is not a bad thing. Getting angry is not a um, it's not a negative thing. A lot of people think that anger is the enemy, and that's not true. That's like saying sadness is the enemy or happiness is the enemy, because it is a natural human emotion. We all have it. The key, of course, is when that anger gets out of balance. Now, if you're getting angry every day at every single thing, then you're out of balance. You have an anger problem, as we say, and you need help with it. Um, but sometimes some things justify getting angry about. When you see what's happening at the border with children being separated from their families, and it's not. I'm not trying to make a political statement here, but when you see what's happening to these children and being separated from their families, it's enough to make you angry. Um, when you see a child gunned down in uh, street violence in one of our inner cities, that's enough to make you angry too. Uh, and in your personal life, when someone crosses you, when someone doesn't hold up their word, or when someone um, tries to take advantage of you or does take advantage of you, it's easy to get angry. It's easy to get upset. So what do you do in these situations? Like I said, getting angry is not a bad thing in and of itself, but always identify where that anger is coming from, and then what in you can you adjust to bring yourself to a better feeling place. So let's take that last example. Someone takes advantage of you and says, I'm just gonna I'm just gonna do this, and they basically expect you to take it. They basically expect you to accept them treating you in this way. Now, there's a part of you that is going to want to get angry about that, and that is understandable. But what if they don't stop? See, you can't allow your behavior to be dictated by what another person does, because at the end of the day, another person may decide that they're just going to continue to pluck your nerves until you don't have any more nerves to pluck. So you have to decide, instead of waiting for them to change, waiting for that person to do better, you have to decide that you're not going to be upset by it anymore, or you have to decide that once you do get angry, you're going to allow yourself to get angry for 5 minutes and then release it. This is very powerful because it allows you to do two things. It allows you to be the human being that you are. That is, get angry, get upset, get pissed, but then keeping it in a controlled place so you can release it and it doesn't begin to damage your emotions, damage your body, damage your mind. It doesn't begin to infect your decision making or anything like that. So how do you do this? If you're angry about something, the best thing to do is to take 5-10 minutes and just sit in a room, and if you have a pillow, start punching the pillow, right? Scream into the pillow. That's another cool thing to do. To scream as loud as you possibly can. into the pillow. Another cool thing to do is to like kick something. Like, don't kick the dog, right? But like maybe kick a bed or kick a couch. Like, don't hurt yourself, of course. Um, Another thing is to to pray. You can pray. You can you can sing. So there's so many things that you can do to like release energy, but it's important to not invalidate how you feel. It's very important to validate your feelings. Most therapists will tell you that. Most therapists will tell you that how you feel and what you feel is important. So don't invalidate your feelings, but take that time to feel how you want to feel the way you feel, and then release it. Just let it go. And do it as many times as you need to do. There's two very powerful things that I do. Is I do what we just talked about. I do the anger releasing. I scream into pillows. I punch pillows. Sometimes sometimes I have to be in the car because it's a house full of people. So sometimes I have to get in the car and I have to like punch the seat, elbow the seat, all those different things. And that's okay. Like all that's fine. Like now somebody driving by might think I'm a crazy person, but that's fine. You have to get to a point where you don't care what people think, and you have to do what allows you to be healthy, and that's one of the things that I do. And another thing that I like to do is I like to do like an audio diary. So what I do is that I record myself talking, and I for like 5-10 minutes I just talk, and I don't censor myself, I don't hold back. I just say what I need to say, and it can be directed at anybody. It can be directed at the sky. It doesn't really matter, but I just get it out. Okay. And it's so powerful to do, because I think a lot of times people feel like they can't say what they want to say because they're afraid of hurting someone's feelings. They're afraid of someone being offended. And whether or not you're afraid of someone being offended, these are things that you feel, and these are valid feelings and valid things that you need to get off your chest and get off your mind and say, so you can move forward and you can go on and you can live your life in peace. Because the bottom line is that the world is going to keep being the world. There's always going to be people who drive too slow. There's always going to be people who don't use a turn signal. There's always going to be people who try to take advantage of you or try to use you. There's always going to be people who say one thing and do another. There's always going to be people who let you down, and it's not to be negative. It's not to be grim in any way. It's just life, and you can still love them, and you can still wish the best for them, and you can still be happy in your own life and not worried about what another person is doing, because we live a long life, and by God's grace we live a long life, and you want to live as happy as you possibly can, and one of the ways to do that is to let anger go. You got to let it go. Anger that is built up, anger that is repressed, anger that is not allowed to express itself becomes destructive. And when you see people blowing up buildings, when you see people shooting co-workers, shooting innocent people, there's a lot of repressed anger there, and it didn't have to be that way. It could have easily been let go of if the person had the tools. And so what I want to really encourage you to do is to, whenever you feel yourself getting angry, just take 5-10 minutes and excuse yourself from the situation. If you have a room that you can go to and not be disturbed, do that. If like I said, if you're in a house full of people, Sometimes it means going to the car and releasing anger there. But you have to release anger, or it will begin to have a negative effect on your life. And if you do that, I believe that you will become someone who will not be easily bothered. Some people will meet you and say, well, you don't ever seem to get angry about anything. And that may or may not be true. It's just that you know how to handle it. So I want to thank you for listening to the podcast. Don't forget to subscribe to this podcast on Spotify as well as iTunes or Apple. I keep calling it iTunes. It's Apple Podcasts. Apple Podcasts. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast. Also go to my website, guidedexpressions.com. You're going to find a bunch of material there that will help you live an amazing life. Okay, my name is Martin Williams. Thank you so much for tuning in. Until next time.